Good morning. It was my great privilege and honour a few years ago, back in 2015, to lead an expedition over to Denmark and rebuild a 100-year-old tall ship, sail it leaking and falling apart back across the North Sea, back to Blythe, in order to really kickstart the tall ship project. It was quite a remarkable feat. Mostly because the team that did it had never done any of these things before, had very little experience, if not none, of a 100-year-old ship, and took a huge risk on me as a leader and on each other as a team. The ship was laid up for about 10 years in Svendborg in Denmark, and as you can see from the photographs, was in quite a poor state of repair. We had to plug all the gaps between the planking, re-rig the whole boat because everything was just on the deck, make repairs to the hull, which actually weren't complete because it was leaking still quite a bit, and repair all the pumps and get the engines going, get up into the rigging and re-rig everything, which is quite a feat when you think how high that is. And of course, we had to spend quite a bit of time dragging the old anchor chains out and getting them de-rusted and reset so we could drop an anchor. Now, these weren't skills I personally had, so we had to appoint different people at different times to take on the roles to lead the different parts of the project, and I worked for them. And what was interesting, one person actually didn't join our tremendous team because they thought that leaders should know it all. So after 2 weeks of being operational as an engineering team led by the engineers, we eventually had to hand over to the sailing team and get sailing across the North Sea. It was a remarkable period of time. We had storms and we had problems having to go into extra ports because things broke. But eventually, tired, wet, and really, really grateful to be alive, I suppose, we started to get closer to land. The team had got remarkably good at raising sails and doing all the core work. And I recorded this little piece towards the end with my feelings. Well, here I am in my little cubby down below. It's my bed, the work area, and it's been quite an interesting trip so far. Everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. And the guys have been absolutely magnificent. They've kept the show going. They've worked really hard. They've got cold and wet and been throwing up, some of them, so they've done good. But we're still here. Repairs are done on the ship after losing strops and ropes and pulleys and making a bit of a state of things during the poor weather. The engine's running sweetly, and we hope to make reasonable time into Newcastle. So it's good fun. And the great reward was coming into Blythe with an escort of local vessels and 15,000 people turning out to see us. And of course, the rest is history. But what's really great is our little intrepid team of 12 has expanded to over 130. So while it may be countercultural for leaders to also act as servants and people in teams to have mutual support and respect for each other, I think as Christians, if we can come through this pandemic and out the other side in this unknown situation in that spirit of love in Christ, then not only will we do our community a great power of good, but we'll also be attractive in this world to new people who will be encouraged by how we live. So go in peace and love today and be the light of Christ in the world. Amen.